Well, good morning. Welcome to Fans Banter. Welcome to our match reaction of Brighton versus Liverpool at the weekend. I know it's a bit late. I'm not even sure if you can call it a match reaction, but I guess we just stick with the words match reaction. Liverpool went to Brighton, and we asked a simple question in our preview of the game: if Liverpool could bring their Champions League form into the Premiership, and that there could be no more excuses. But the simple answer to that question or that statement was no, they cannot. Liverpool go to Brighton and they lose 2-1. Bit of a surprise, maybe, after playing so well against Galatasaray, but Brighton is a hard place to go to, even at the best of times. They're a good team, but sloppy play from Liverpool and poor tactics just equals another loss for Liverpool against Brighton. And with another loss, I tell you one thing, we're lucky Chelsea also lost. Chelsea just don't. Not that we only have to look out for Chelsea now to finish in fifth. Brentford are coming strong, and dare I say, Everton. So yeah, another loss for Arne Slot in the Premiership. And in Arne's own words, now if you haven't seen his press conference, please go look at it. It's a masterclass in slotness. Is that a word? I'm going to use it from now on. Slotness. It's a masterclass in slotness. Arne Slot, about 10 minutes, talked about 10 minutes that I watched anyway, about how it's not his business to make excuses for the poor performances, but it's his job to solve them. You're not solving them, Arne Slot, and you spent 10 minutes talking about excuses. He talked about the money that Liverpool spent. Oh, no, wait. He talked about the money that Liverpool didn't spend, because according to Arne Slot, we spent 150 million. I'm not sure. I think it was more close to 450 million, Aaron. But no, you can do the maths on that. You can sell players and you can balance the books that way. But it's not a spreadsheet business. 450 million is what Liverpool spent in the summer. Now, Arne Slot is not a man for making excuses, but he did. He made excuses that he didn't have Isak available to him. He didn't have Giovanni Leone available to him. Would he have played him? I don't think he would have played him. So more excuses. He didn't have Salah. Salah wasn't available to him at the weekend. But Salah is not pulling up trees in any way, is he? And then he bemoaned the fact that Alisson wasn't also available. So to me, Aaron, that sounds like an awful lot of excuses. And another stat that was actually mind-boggling that I heard during the week. I don't know the exact numbers now, but something like Liverpool have been outrun 26 times in 30 games. Arne Slot made the excuse that stat is sort of false because the other teams are running around a lot because Liverpool have a lot of possession. Arne Slot is not a man for making excuses. He's a man to solve problems. But in my opinion, he makes a lot of excuses and doesn't seem to solve a lot of problems. So yeah, getting on with the game at the weekend against Brighton. Well, firstly, the team that Arne Slot put out, well, I'll go through it quickly because it's important to realise that the players that he did have available to him. He had Marmadashvili in goal. He had Frimpong, Kanate, Van Dijk, Kerkez. In midfield, he had Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Wirtz. Up front, he had Cody Gakpo and Ekitike. So I guess not a lot of players to pick from, Aaron. Just before we get into the game, a word about James Milner, ex-Liverpool player, 41 years of age, still going strong, and in the first 2 minutes of the game, he puts in 2 tough tackles against Szoboszlai, gives him a clip around the ear, and then he bumps into Ekitike, and yeah, only 2 minutes in, sets the tone straight away. Shows a lot of desire, a lot of heart, and he's just letting the Liverpool players know that they're in for a battle today against Brighton. Did Liverpool stand up to the battle? Hell no, they did not. Szoboszlai moaned about the crack in the ear, and Ekitike ends up going off after 7 minutes. So the team that Arne Slot put out, what sort of formation did he play? Well, I think it was a 4-4-2. It was hard to make out, to be quite honest with you. I think Liverpool's best formation would be a 4-4-2 diamond with Wirtz at the top of that diamond. But it was hectic for the first couple of minutes. It was all stop and start. So it was hard for me, even though I watched it twice, to be quite honest with you, to make out what sort of formation that Liverpool were playing at the start of the game. And I have no idea what sort of formation Liverpool were playing by the end of the game. So let's just talk about Liverpool's sloppiness that cost the goals, to be quite honest with you. Right, so the first goal, Marmardashvili has the ball in his hands. He could have kicked it. Nothing wrong with that. Goalkeepers, balls in their hands, they can kick it. It's allowed. Football, you're allowed to kick the ball down the pitch in football. But Marmardashvili decides to put the ball on the ground, pass it out to the right, not to Frimpong, but to Kanate, because Frimpong was too high up. He passes it to Kanate. Kanate can't control it. And even if Kanate had have controlled it, he would have been put under pressure because the Brighton attacker was just standing off Kanate, waiting for the goalkeeper to pass it to him. And Marmardashvili does what the Brighton attacker wants him to do. He passes to Kanate. Kanate can't control it. It goes out for a throw. Sloppy. So now you would think a little bit of sloppiness, right? It's a throw in. Let's get ourselves back together again. Let's form ourselves into some sort of defensive position. But no, McAllister and Frimpong decide to want to mark the same man, which leaves a Brighton player free, who the guy taking the throw just throws it to him. Then there's a little bit of back and forth between those two players. Wirtz is too slow to react. He doesn't get out quick enough. The ball comes across. Kerkez is left with two players to mark at the back post because Van Dijk decides to follow the player in the box rather than following the flight of the ball. It comes across. Kerkez can't get to it. It's headed back across the goal from the back post. Welbeck gets up against let's face it, a very weak Kanate. I don't know what height Kanate is. What is he? 6'2", 6'3", 6'4"? He's a big unit of a man, but he gets a little tap on the back. He falls through the air looking for a free kick. Welbeck gets up, heads it into the back of the net. 1-0 Brighton. Yep, just all very sloppy. And from then on, it got even worse as the game went on. But I do want to go back a little bit in time. When Ekiteke went off, one would have thought strikers coming off. You put on a striker. Rio Engamoa, possibly. Even Chiesa. But I'll talk about Chiesa later on. Probably Rio Engamoa. But no, but Arne Slot. I believe this is where Liverpool lost the game, to be quite. This is where Liverpool lost the game, I think, to be quite honest with you. Only in the 7th minute because of Slot's poor tactical awareness. A striker goes off and he brings on a midfielder. Curtis Jones. Rio Engamoa would have been a good choice. Or perhaps even Chiesa. Keep the same sort of shape that you wanted to start with. Rio Engamoa wouldn't change it too much. They could have just moved Cody Gakpo into the middle. Chiesa could have went out on the left, just moved Cody Gakpo into the middle. But no, he decides to change up the whole shape of the team by putting Curtis Jones into midfield and then moving Wirtz forward. Wirtz is not a forward. So what did we end up with then? Was it a 4-5-1? Yeah, very poor tactical awareness from Arne Slot. And I think that's where we lost the game, as early as the 7th minute. It was only a matter of time. The goals just had to go in. The game was all over. So we go back. We're 1-0 down because of Liverpool's sloppy play. In fairness to Kerkez, I think Kerkez had a good game, so I'm not blaming him for the two men at the back post. And I think he reacted really well to Dunk flicking the ball, trying to flick the ball back to the goalkeeper, and he reacted really well. And it was a great finish from Kerkez. I'm delighted for him. He well-deserved goal for the performances that he has put in over the last couple of games. The game sort of stumbles towards half-time. Not much goes on, to be quite honest with you. Liverpool are poor. They don't really have too many shots on goal, if any. Was it 2? Maybe 2? I don't know. I can't remember now. But yeah, but just wasn't exciting. It lacked intensity. It lacked cohesion. The players were all over the place. I don't know. But by this stage, I have absolutely no idea what formation they were playing. Frimpong was having a nightmare against, was it Minta? Minta for Brighton. He tortured him for the whole afternoon. Supposedly was more times at right full than he was in midfield. There was times where Van Dijk was out on the right and Kanate was out on Van Dijk was out on the left. Kanate was out on the right. There was players everywhere. Well, I don't know what sort of game plan they came into the game to try and execute from Arne Slot. But as early as the 7th minute, sure, it all went out the window, didn't it? was from there here on in, it was a fucking disaster. Second goal for Brighton. It looks kind of a simple goal, really. Frimpong vacates the right full position. He goes chasing the ball, chasing the player across the pitch into midfield. He can't get him. The play is then switched back to the right. Szoboszlai doesn't block the cross quick enough. It comes across. It beats Van Dijk. Van Dijk is slow to react. He can't get to the ball. And Welbeck sticks it in. 2-1. Game over. After that, to be quite honest with you, Liverpool did not look like getting back into the game at all. So Arne Slot makes his usuals. It's becoming a usual substitution now. He takes off Kanate and puts on Chiesa, and they take off Frimpong and puts on Rio Engamoa. What formation are we playing now? Is it a 4-3-3? I don't know. I actually don't know what sort of formation Arne Slot is playing at this stage. I don't know what sort of setup Liverpool were hoping to achieve with the players they put on the pitch. But it just all looked unbalanced. There was players, and I mean there was players everywhere. The midfield was wide open. Curtis Jones was moved back to right full, but soon after that he had a shot from just inside the box with the keeper tipped around the post. And I think that was Liverpool's best chance in the entire game other than the goal. So yeah, just all very poor from Arne Slot and from the Liverpool players. I think the tactics are poor. I just don't think he understands what he is trying to achieve. And if he does have an objective that he's trying to achieve, the players are just not carrying it out. Either they don't want to carry it out, or they're just not understanding what he wants. Because Liverpool just looked a mess. So he brings on Chiesa. And I told you I'd talk about Chiesa. And there's a question. I have a genuine question that I want to ask about Chiesa. What other team in the Premiership would Chiesa play in? I've been thinking, I can't think of another team in the Premiership that Chiesa would start as a forward. Now, the international break is on, and Chiesa has accepted the call up for Italy. I'm going to be watching the Italy games if I can, and if he plays, I just want to see how he plays, how he gets on in Italy. Because is it Chiesa's fault? Because he can't be that shit, to be quite honest. Or is it how he's being played at Liverpool? Quite like a lot of players, how they're being played at Liverpool, I think is part of the problem. So yeah, very sloppy performance on Liverpool. The architects of their own downfall, to be quite honest. They give away two goals that could have easily been avoided against Brighton if they had been more up for the game, let's say. Mate, do you know what? It wasn't the bright lights of Anfield on a Champions League night. Is that part of the problem? Are these Liverpool players just choosing when to turn it on and when to turn it off? I can't believe that's even a possibility, to be quite honest. Yeah, Liverpool give away two very sloppy goals. The poor tactics from the manager, the poor substitutions, the players on the pitch at the end of the game. I don't know what formation they were playing. There was players everywhere. They were running around. There was so much space for Brighton to play into. Liverpool were lucky to get away with a 2-1 loss. It could have been 3, it could have been 4, except for Marmardashvili, who pulled off some very good saves. But except for Marmardashvili, who pulled off 2 or 3 really good saves in the game, it could have easily been 3-4-1 to Brighton. And Arne Slot, in his press conference, please do go and have a look at his press conference, because this man is absolutely deluded. I don't know if he sees things in a different way than what we're looking at them, but I can tell you, when I'm looking at the games and then I listen to him talk about the games and I listen to him talk about Liverpool's performances, we're miles apart in agreement. Is this the best that Liverpool can do? Is Arne Slot the best Liverpool manager that we can actually get? It's hard to believe that this man is the Liverpool manager at this stage. It's hard to believe that he hasn't got the sack, to be quite honest, because the performances and the win ratio has been atrocious this season. Now, Liverpool, they go on a break. They go on the international break. Arne Slot was moaning again. It's not for him to make excuses, but he's already started to make excuses for when Liverpool come back from the international break, where they have to face Man City, then they have to play PSG in the Champions League. And he has already started to make excuses about his players that they will have to play an extra 2 games while some of the English players will be getting rested and so forth because they don't have to arrive late to the squads. So the excuses have already started. He's making the groundwork for. Speaking about groundwork, if you were building a house, you wouldn't ask Liverpool to be helping you on that building site because they just cannot build on good things. They had a good result against Galatasaray and they just cannot build. And time after time after time this season, we've had okay performances that gave us like a false dawn where we thought, yeah, we can push on from here. Like the league is gone, but we can still push on and get some good results. No, we can't. It seems to be we put 1 block up and we knock 2 blocks down. That's why I wouldn't get Liverpool to build my house. Yeah, but getting back to Arne Slot and his excuses, he's already laid the groundwork for what he will be using in his press conferences when he comes back from the international break, because there's a huge possibility that Liverpool will be beaten by Man City and then beaten badly by PSG. So Arne has to have some of the excuses, which he doesn't make, by the way, lined up for those press conferences. So yeah, there we go. Liverpool, they just couldn't carry the Champions League form into the Premiership. They were sloppy. The manager was poor in his tactics. And Liverpool crashed to another defeat in the Premiership. 2-1 to Brighton. And okay, that's it. It's a late one and it's a brief one, but that's Liverpool against Brighton. And that's Fans Banter.